We just got done watching the season 3 premiere of Wheel of Time, and my goodness, was this a banger! I had no idea what we were going to be in for, but damn, did they set the bar off right off the rip. They did a wonderful job of just throwing us straight into the fray with this show. After just finishing reading the third book of Wheel of Time, I did not know that it was going to just be, again, just throwing us straight into everything that there was about this show. But they are. They're throwing us in there, hitting the ground running, and kind of getting a lot of the things out of the way that they need to get out of the way quick, fast, and in a hurry. I'm okay with that too, right? It's not in a hurry in a bad way. It's in a hurry in a good way. It's like, hey, we are setting the bar, we are setting the tone, and we are letting it be known that this is crazy. I was so not prepared for them to be going full blown badassery in the first 5 minutes of the show. I knew that it was going to open with them fighting and doing all these things, but damn, it really set the bar, bro. It was crazy, and I was not prepared for it at all. They did a great job, man. I love the entire beginning of this episode. Each one of these episodes, I think, did a wonderful job of setting the tone for the next one, really getting us into the money of everything, blending the lines of what we are, blending the narrative of the book with this new narrative of the show that they are trying to create. And it did a good job. It was a damn good job of doing that. The bar has been set. We understand the things. We were able to kind of get a hold of all the Black Aja, got a good amount of lore behind the Black Aja as well, and more. And that was just dope. It was really nice to see the Aes Sedai go up against the Dark Friends and see them just full blown fight, going blow for blow, toe to toe. That shit was fantastic. I like, this show did the due diligence every step of the way. They made us care about characters that were Dark Friends and we had no idea. All of these things were put together in a wonderful way. And Liandrin being this menace just really sets the bar. And of course, the death that we were faced with in that first episode were just, it's just tremendous. The amount of heartbreak, the amount of pain that everybody was forced to go through and feel. It's just, damn, bro, what are we even doing here, man? And it was just so, it was incredible. It was also amazing to see right off the back that they had tremendously increased the budget for every part of this show possible. The cinematography, the magic system that they do, everything just has so much built into it. Even seeing the way that they are, all the weaves that are happening, they're just beautiful. Seeing the way that Siuan is trying to break her way out and she can't. And then all of these things just continue to mold together. Right when we thought it was going to be chitty chitty bang bang, guess what? She is saved. She doesn't even know what's happening. But you know what she does? She tears them things off with her weaves, and then she goes right back at it, and she starts whooping ass left and right. Yes! Like, hell yeah. Talk about sweet victory. Yo, I'm so excited. I am so excited. I had no idea that we were going to be straight cooking like this, but we are. The first two episodes, we didn't even have the intro. They just flashed the Wheel of Time logo and then they got through it. You feel me? They got us through it quick, fast, right? They were like, let's get them to the next point. Let's get them to the next option. Let's keep this going. And then we get to see all of the Ta'veren, all of our Terran, all of the what is it? The Emmonsfield 5. We get to see them all here in a, just, everybody's looking fire. Everyone's looking all grown up. Everyone's looking like they've been through some shit, which they have. And it's just fantastic to see our titular characters be here and be here for each other, even though they're inevitably going to be split up again, because that's just the nature of how things go. It's still really cool to see them here together, at least for this one last time before they, well, not one last time, but seeing them here as they split up and kind of make these other decisions and do these things that they do. You feel me? So Perrin's looking awesome. Rand's looking awesome. Everyone is looking great. The way that they were able to weave those first two episodes, the first two seasons of the Wheel of Time into what they did with the books, and like kind of grab a little bit of everything from a little bit of everywhere and kind of just zoom, can not condense, condense and consolidate those things together as well. It just works. It just worked, man. And it was so nice to see the way that Matt was being an absolute idiot about everything. And the way I love the way that the Amberlin seat later called him out on this and all the stuff that he's doing, right? They're like, yo, why would you be here getting a picture of yourself? Way you got a full blown portrait of you holding the horn. This is the stupidest thing you could have possibly done. Quite literally, it couldn't get any stupider. But who cares? Matt is just all lighthearted and he's so happy and look at that picture. He's like, nah, man, this is an amazing picture. And it's not a bad picture at all. So I can't hate, I can't argue. But still, it's just it was really funny to see him yapping and see everyone looking around and looking at him and all this stuff. And it's like, bro, there's no way this dude is really serious about all of these things. And it was really cool to be able to also see Elaine growing into this character here, seeing her deal with Rand and really setting the bar for who her character is in the show versus who her character is in the books, because again, they're not the same characters, right? They are the same characters, but they're not the same characters. The way that things are happening to them definitely changes who they are and their reactions to things, but it keeps them very similar. It keeps them on a similar trajectory, but overall, it changes the pathway to how we get to those points. And that's cool. Nothing's wrong with that, but it is a little jarring at times. It is a little whiplashy with some of the things that are happening. For example, being able to, well, not see a lot of the things that I was hoping that we would have saw, right? It was nice to see that first trial of Egwene and seeing all of the girls here being badasses in the future. That shit hits so hard. To see Egwene as the Amberlin seat in the future, to see Rand truthfully be this lost person and really be not just broken, but you can tell that he is gone through some things. And I believe that even here we hear Nynaeve say, no, he killed Mat and Perrin. I saw him do it. Baby, that means bro is on a whole nother level. And to be able to see, of course, our Hunters 3, who we don't even get in the show, our Hunters 3, but to see him here, all badassery, riding their horses, yeah, man. I really like it. It hits. It feels right. And then, of course, it also gives us that hint as to who they all will be. Green Aja, Yellow Aja, the Amberlin seat. It's interesting how they're choosing to do Tel'aran'rhiod and like kind of enter the dream fray of things as well in a completely different manner. And they kind of tease us with this by making us think that, oh, maybe what's happening is a dream sequence while they're in not the bar, but while they're in the inn and while everyone's kind of talking and discussing things. But no, it's like, no, this is not a dream sequence. This is straight up really happening because of, I believe it's Moghedien, or AKA Moggy, right? The Mogsmeister is out here doing the most wild thing, got Rands coming through mirrors again and again. This is trippy as hell. I don't think we had a super trippy moment in the same manner in the show. In the book, I mean, nothing to this level of trip, but they were able to kind of put in the dark friend stuff and a little bit of everything, right? A little bit of seeding everything. Crazy to see the axe absolutely kill Perrin, and all of these things happen, and an actual gray man come into the fray and really start trying to murder, to straight up murder. Like, bro, I just wasn't ready for the things to be so, again, so different, but so similar. It felt nice. It felt good to know what was going to go on next, even though I kind of hate knowing what's going to happen next for things like this. But it felt good to know what was going to go on next in a way, and to see everyone kind of working together. We got the Aiel. The table is set in a grand way, and I was definitely not prepared for that. And I also wasn't prepared for Lanfear and Moiraine to basically be working together on this and be really in on it and like, hey, yeah, this is what we're got going on. This is what's happening here. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. And then we also find out that there's only one Forsaken who has the ability to make Gray Man, and it is Magi herself, Mogedion, the Spider Queen, the Black Widow. It's just awesome the way that we were able to see these little things be shown on screen that we didn't get to see within the book. They showed a lot of shit on screen that was off screen within the book, but they also skipped over some stuff that we would have got to see. Period. So as she makes the Gray Man, we can basically see this dude losing his spiritual essence. It literally being from him, and you can see it kind of being torn from his body, and at the same time, he is still staying. So it's like there's something that is being torn from him, and I don't know where that goes. I don't know where that goes. I don't know what happens to that, but it's gone. It's gone, and that is how a gray we and kind of go with Rand and Moiraine, because I think her character is actually better suited there than being with them, than being with Nynaeve and Elaine at this moment, for that to kind of occur. And I'm hyped for that. I'm hyped for everything here. I said it multiple times as well within the watch party, but god damn, Egwene was looking Egwene, all right? Egwene was killing the fit that she had on. All of them looked good. Every woman in this show looks good. You just got to give it to them. They all look fantastic. They all are beautiful women in this show, and they all exude power in a way, and it's really cool to see them all kind of deal with each other and not deal with each other. Again, very bummed out that we had to power speed through her trials. Same with Elaine. I wanted to see their trials a little bit more. I think it would have been cool to at least see Elaine's trials. Like we saw one of Egwene's. It would have been cool to see one of Elaine's at least as well. But I understand, because that leaves like a third other thing. But I think that's something that we could have left for like Tel'aran'rhiod or whatever. But I don't know where. Maybe it's not important to see that. But nevertheless, we start that second episode with an actual flashback, right? The show gets a little bit more Game of Thronesies as we continue to check it out, right? She's full-blown pregnant right now with her baby, and she goes into this meeting. There was a red wedding in this meeting, and there was also a red seat of Andor, I guess you can call it. And it was just death and murder and blood, where we basically see all the other seats of the houses bend the knee to her as a way to end the war. And she's like, well, why, thank you, all of you, for bending the knee so we could end this frivolous war. It is what we exactly needed to do. So thank you. And then she's like, yeah, I'm so happy that we can end all of this. But she's like, I got my baby, I got my daughter. So we got you. So we can be sure that we can continue to hold the bloodlines, which means all of these people's, for the little girl, it was her older brother that killed her. So all of their family members basically murdered the next in line as a way to continue the succession of the bloodline for Andor, which is absolutely diabolical and insane, letting us know that a throne that is made from blood will also be torn down through blood as well. Okay, all right. It's a very poetic thing that they have set up here, and I am so ready to see how all of these people are able to have the outcome of them. We had no idea that she was this evil woman before, or at least how evil of a woman she had the opportunity or the capability of being. But it is front and center on display here for us today, right? And then again in episode 2, we get a good look at that Amyrlin seat. We see Elaine's mother, the queen, and all of her other peeps pull up to the White Tower. I love the way that Siuan is not bothered at all and makes them wait, holds a beat and everything before letting them in, knowing that they're also going to have to call everyone in one by one to make the queen wait even longer. I love it. I just love the way that they draw it all out. And then we're also introduced to Elaine's brothers here. And this is how they end up staying at the White Tower instead of the way that they are in the book. Similar things are happening. Things that we already know are happening, but they're just occurring in a very different manner, right? We're introduced to Gabriel, all of the things. Like we are kind of speed running through these things in a solid way. Um, we kind of get to see a little bit of, I guess you can say, a piss and match between the Queen and the Amerlin seat. And I love the way that they both keep trying to put each other in each other's place. As long as you wear that ring, don't forget who I am. Well, even though you my mother, you ain't my mother because you ain't a mother. I love the way they just kind of go back and forth and go blow for blow and try to keep getting that one up on each other. And they really can't find it, right? They can't find the actual one up to get on each other, which is cool. And then we also see that Rand and the Rand gang are traveling to the Aiel Waste as a way to basically continue on down the prophecy road. Because there are so many prophecies connected to the Dragon Reborn and the in Taviran and all of these things. There's so many prophecies, so one prophecy at a time, and that is beautiful. And then one of the most surprising things for me coming out of this episode was seeing the utilization of the ways. They are just using the ways willy-nilly, no big dilly. And that is insane to me that they literally just sped run home. Did a good job of kind of setting up that people have already been using the ways to travel. And I believe that the people that used the ways to travel beforehand were the Aes Sedai and her warder that were just at Tar Valon fighting. No freaking clue why they're here at the White Tower now. I mean, at the Two Rivers. That makes no sense why they would go from the White Tower to the Two Rivers. Not even the warder knows why they've done that. But during this time, we also get a reminder that Loial is going through his longing of the steading, also giving us that one step closer of having a full-blown steading reveal happen in this season, probably, which I would love to see more Ogiers and love to get a little bit more contextualization on their vibe across just completely. Just get a complete overhaul of their vibe. We then go back to Elaine and see her dynamic between her family, which I love. Right. We also find out that Gabriel is like, he's been a part of the family for a while, I guess. He's like, oh yes, all we do is drink and all these things. I guess Gabriel, yeah, I appreciate you. And everyone's like, oh, Gabriel, it's so good to meet you. It's so good to have you back here. All these things. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone understands who he is. All these things. But we find out later on that everything is not what it seems, right? One of my biggest gripes with what we're doing this season, in a way, is our boy Matt. Right? I'm not a big fan of how our boy Matt is getting done so far. Matt exuded confidence a lot more within the book. He stood on business more. He had heart. He was ready to embrace a role without really knowing what that role was. And they kind of teased that in this season, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of getting, I don't know. I guess we just got to hold on and see what they do with the rest of the season. But Matt's character currently just doesn't feel, I don't know. It's not what it's not what I wanted, honestly. I thought we were going to be over that I'm kind of a loser vibe that we got going on. And they kind of hit us over the head with it more in this season. In these opening episodes, right? They kind of hit us with it like, oh no, we're heading home that Matt is he can't he can't even get a girl to notice him, and Galad and other bro are literally knocking someone down, having the walls get cracked into it. All of that was just wild. That was wild work. I was not prepared for that. We didn't. Bro showed out. He didn't show out in front of anybody though. We didn't get to see them have their warder person type dude that was over them. Just very interesting takes on certain aspects of it, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that, but like I said, I gotta see some more. I gotta see some more happening, right? Because again, I feel like we were through this part already, so it's kind of. I don't want this to become a beating the dead horse type of thing, but I might be tripping. Elaine and her mother have this conversation, and then her mother basically be like, no, you're coming home with me. And Elaine being like, I don't want to. And then later on, I'm not going home with you, actually. I don't care what you really say to me, so whatevs, bruv. And then we also finally got to see some damn sword forms. We see we get some Rand and some Lan action going on. Them fighting. Lan trying to reach out and kind of be a brotherly fatherly figure for Rand and just being like, nah, bro, my bad. I forgot we don't show our emotions like that. Let's get back to let's get back to the forms. And that was cool. It was also interesting to see the way that the dynamic between Moiraine and Egwene, like everything is so different because of how now Egwene is with them instead of all these other things. So it's just there's a shift, right? There's a shift that has happened for this story, and so far I think it's a good shift. I think we've done a good job of setting these different things up, and we end up back home. Yeah, setting up these different things that could possibly arise. We end up back home with Perrin and all of them in the Two Rivers after them being gone for a while since the day of the Trollocs coming and attacking everyone. And the city is looking different. It's looking down. It's looking good, but people are looking good, but also there's definitely a threat of something happening. The person that we get introduced to here is Nynaeve's mother, if I'm not mistaken, and she is standing on business as well. I love her character. It's nice to see where Egwene comes from. It's nice to see where all of these amazing people come from, because of course they're the Manetheren, as we know. So it was really cool to see them kind of be suckers and then turn into the ones. And then we find out that the damn warder and Aes Sedai are hiding out here for whatever the freak reason. A reason that I don't understand. Everyone's surprised. He's surprised to see them. They're surprised to see him. It's like, what's going on, man? I don't think we got answers to that as to why they're there at all. So that's interesting. We also get the Hunters 3 established, but instead it's unfortunately the Hunters 2 because no Moiraine is there. Nor Moiraine. Why do I keep saying Moiraine? I'm getting Moiraine and Egwene mixed up. No more Egwene is there. So now we have to see all these things kind of go down differently. So they become the Hunters. Kind of get the same rules, get the same things going on, but not within like, oh, hey, go to your classes and all that stuff still. And well, yes, they still have to do that, but it's just not as heavily emphasized on with all that other stuff. And I don't think we even get to see any of those interactions with even in the White Tower because they're already leaving by the end of the next episode, which is kind of crazy to me. If you guys know anything, another thing that I've been calling for with reading the book and something that I think they handled really well in the book was for our good old girl Eggie. I wanted her to feel what she's been through. I wanted her to feel, hey, I am struggling with what's going on. This is not just over because I killed my captor. These things are still bothering me. They're haunting me, and they will haunt me for some days to come. Great way to kind of set the tone with that across the board. And then also a good way to enter us into Tel'aran'rhiod and let us know that all of these people's dream worlds are connected in Tel'aran'rhiod, and then how Lanfear is kidnapping, seducing, and doing all these things to our boy Rand, and he kind of has no choice about the matter. But Lanfear is going to do what she can to get some alone time with her boy. You feel me? And it's cool to see that also, because that's not something we got to see in the show. Very interesting how they're doing it. In the book, very interesting how they're doing these things so differently to where in book 3, Rand is barely there at all, and he's off on these little side quests and he's dreaming and doing all these things in Tel'aran'rhiod and all this other stuff and looking for the sword and so on and so forth. And they kind of got that tackled in season 2 to where we start this season and they're already talking about the sword and looking for the sword and all of these things, and they know the lore of the sword. So there's a whole bunch of different mysteries, but some of the same ones. Like, bruh, yeah, they've done a really good job. And then this is where we also see that Lanfear is evil because as she is here trying to seduce Rand, she has Egwene going through the worst thing she could possibly be going through, reliving those experiences. And those are both Lanfear acting it out. So she's getting pleasure on a whole different type of way. She's torturing the person that is currently with the dude that she thinks is her man, and she is also with her man. So she's getting the best of both worlds. Lanfear and Selene, Miley Cyrus, and Hannah Montana. You feel me? They are getting the best of both worlds with what they got going on, and that shit is crazy. It was dope to get this little tease of who the hell are you? And they're like, who the hell are you? And she's like, you shouldn't be here. I love that. Love that. I love it. The way that they're handling the lore and the world building so far is nice. Matt, of course, is kind of still in his brat mode. Unfortunately, definitely didn't think he would still be in his brat mode in the season. I really didn't. I thought he would be over the attitudes and the fits and stuff in a way, just because of how he ended on the last season. Like, bro was literally, he was king shit, and it's sad to see he's not king shit anymore. But I guess you can't be king shit forever. Maybe he's just the king of shit. But nonetheless, as I said, I'll have to hold out my 100% reservations to see what they do with his character over the duration of the season from here on out. But, I liked everyone else's character in these first 3 episodes. I'm seeing Matt kind of stand up for himself in the end of that third episode too. And I understand that they had to kind of make an arc out of it. They couldn't just have him go through they couldn't just have it be magic time and then him level up, which is okay, right? Then we get this moment between Elaine and Moghedien and how they're talking about stuff and how they've basically known each other for years and how they've always just drank and all this other stuff. We just have them really solidifying the bond between them, solidifying the relationship that has been established over years and years of knowing each other, supposedly, right? Over years and years of supposedly knowing each other. But after that, we go to Swan, the Amyrlin Seat, rightfully putting Matt in his place. Unfortunately, though, she had to talk to him. He was an absolute dillweed, dumbass doorknob, which I guess, to be fair, he kind of is, in order to let him know, yo, the Horn of Valyr is one of the biggest things ever to ever, and you can't go around just telling people that you have the horn the same way he was kind of flashing that letter around beforehand, which I don't think they gave, right? No letter here either, so who knows what's going on? They're just sending messengers when Matt was the one that took the letter. I think they're doing a good job of changing shit up, but I don't know if it's enough to change it up to be like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen at all from the things that I've read in the other book to this book. I think I can make a good infer. I think I was right about every single thing that I inferred already from the trailer because of being able to connect it to the book, right? Obviously, there are some things that are different, but we're introduced to the Aiel very early on, which I think is really interesting. And I love this conversation between Elaine and her mother. Basically, Elaine standing on business and being like, Mama, I ain't going nowhere with you. It's not happening. I ain't going anywhere at all. Sorry. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 because we got some other things to do here. And as we are introduced to more Aiels, we get more Aiel lore, more Aiel prophecy, and everything about our boy Rand basically being Muad'Dib. He's the one, he's the chosen one, and he is to protect the promised land by bringing it into it in a way, which is a very interesting thing. And then as we go into episode 3, it was such a nice touch with this being our first time getting the intro of this season, right? Our first intro of the season, but we also fill it up with finding some of these Forsaken that Ishii had let out at the end of the other season when things were going bad, right? He let out damn near all the Forsaken. And here we see 3 of them meet, with one of them being none other than Gabriel, which I was not prepared for. I thought Gabriel was a dark friend the whole time. I never thought that he was a goddamn Forsaken. And the way that they portal in and out, it just looks so good. And look, it's like this. To them, it looks like they portal, right? That's what it looks like for them because they are Forsaken. But to all of us, to everyone else as laymen's, it looks like their bodies ought to just disappear. I think those are the same thing, right? When they get snapped and when they walk through the portal, it's the same type of vibe. And look at that. Look at the way they're getting everything together, establishing the hatred between each other, to putting in those barriers that they've already had before within the last lives that they've lived and with all the other things that they've done. Just a solid job of establishing the hierarchy of these characters and a little bit of everything. The beginning got me hyped for what's to come. Everybody talking they shit, everybody kind of setting up these little things. And then we have, right, we have Nynaeve, and then we have Nynaeve and Elaine, not torturing, but asking the Red Aja for information about what they did, or the Black Aja information about what they did on the day of the break-in. And they just kind of keep getting the runaround. Everyone is messing with them, finessing them. I love the way she just kind of goes to being super serious, and they just kind of just drop the act, literally. She's like, come on, just drop the act, it's over. And then they drop the act and they all just start yapping, and quite literally yapping, because they say nothing with importance, but they just kind of just go and yap and tell them a whole bunch of nothing. But they do a smart thing and is, okay, since they told us a whole bunch of nothing, let's take that whole bunch of nothing and find what they didn't say. Where is the something between the nothing? We also get this hint at Elaida being sick of some kind, because she has this shaking going on and she calls for someone to help her get dressed. Who that someone ends up being is Min, coming in and helping her out with what she got going and what she going through, right? Which is very interesting. I think it's a very solid way to start that. And I think they did a good job. I think I said a good job a lot, but for real, they did a good job of having them be detectives and go through all of these clues that they know without going through all of the clues that they have within the book, but they still go through the clues that they have here and kind of come to a conclusion. We find this new emblem, logo, insignia thing that ties Liandrin to this room where her son was, and also connecting it to where she needs to go now in the future to honor the other half of her son's burial. And then Elaida is obviously fighting for straws, going in, talking about, if you pick an enemy with me now, you're gonna regret it forever, because I'm gonna remember it forever. And she does. I think she does hold grudges. Look at her. She looks like somebody that's gonna hold a grudge. She's gonna be mad. And I love that. She tries to go running back to her Red Aja peeps, but they ain't rocking with her because she's been gone for so long. A very similar hierarchy, or a very similar thing that happened with Moiraine when she came back, right? They was like, girl, you ain't even a Blue Aja because you don't even be here like that. Girl, you wasn't with us shooting in the gym? Hey, I respect that. She wasn't there. And then she come back trying to bribe everybody with all these goods and needs and things and such that nobody's such and needed and things. As we move away from there, we get back to the Aiel Waste, and we see that Rand is traveling with all of them, and they stumble across a abandoned, attacked caravan of the Tuatha, aka the Tinkerers, and it's just really sad to see how the Tinkerers were done. We don't know who did this to them exactly, but we get a couple of hints as to what could happen here, for sure. And it's just sad to see all of the divide that there is, even within the Aiel, who are these cultural people that hold themselves to these standards of being locked in, in a way. It's kind of crazy to see them not be locked in with their people because of these other religious events, these historical events that have occurred, and drawn a wedge between them, not just as characters, but also as people and all these other things, right? So we continue to see Rand, and we see all of these characters care about stuff, right? Egwene's immediately like, yo, we have to bury the dead, because she respects the Tuatha from what they see. And then we immediately cut to Perrin burying his ring at his family's cherry tree blossom grave site, which I think is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hint of world building. Like, oh, my family, when they die, they hold a tree in their hand in order to grow into this orchard with the remains of their body and stuff. We got some other good lore and world building with, I can't think of her name right now, which is so sad. But we get some good lore. We find out about what her people do with the dead, of getting those ashes and kind of spreading them on your face and allowing it to seep in, so you're able to lock in with your own being and your sorrows and your grief, being able to also fight through it. So we find out that the White Cloaks have been basically coming back to the Two Rivers in order to find out more about Matt and find out about all of them and to try to kidnap them. And they end up just taking Matt's sisters and his mom in order to call out Perrin because Perrin killed the commander's dad and other things, and they're all threatened and sad and fearful, and they want revenge as well, which they just may get or they just may not. And of course, the whole time we have mention of Trollocs on the outside of the walls trying to get in, and the White Cloaks need to leave them alone. They can't leave though, because if they leave, then Trollocs. Now we get back to the girls finally studying the sangreal and finding out more about it, some of them can do, kind of adding those attribute points to each piece. I would definitely be adding those attribute points, trying to figure out what's what does what, how can what do what. That's kind of what their gist is. They're trying to, and as they're trying to figure out what these things can do, we have on the other side of the world the Black Aja that our hunters are actually looking for, making a move, murdering people, and we see Liandrin do a badass move, pull a Kalima, and deadass rip bro's heart out of his chest. So cool. Such cool shit. That is some cool shit right there. And then basically we just see all of the women go from here to murder everything and everyone. And she even wipes that little girl's mind of everything that she remembers in order to kind of mold her in her own image and make sure she doesn't have those that baggage and emotional connections to everything else like most people do. At least that's the kind of vibe that I get as she looks at this little girl with blonde hair, as you look at this little blonde hair, blue eye. Well, I don't think the little girl has blue eyes. This blonde haired girl that might resemble what she looked like as a little kid, who she sees herself in. It's like, is this kind of what happened to her? Perpetuating the stereotype of what she already went through. Very, very sad. Very, very, very sad. Min is probably one of my least favorite characters in what we got to see here. Along with Matt, can't lie. Because I just feel like their characters are done so well in the show and so differently that it's hard to kind of root for this because those characters are 100% different. Like, they're different. Everything is different about them. Their arcs are different. Their wants are different. Their needs, the things that they aspire to do and look for, all different. And that was crazy. It was also crazy that I guess Rand pulled Selene, aka Lanfear, into Tel'aran'rhiod because he's so freaking like, whoa, dang. Like, wow, that's so powerful to do one thing and all these other things happen. Oh, we also saw some titties in this episode that I wasn't ready for because I guess everyone here waits in a bathhouse or a sweat house and they kind of bathe that way as well. And we see that they're all holding their boundaries against each other because they are obviously undermining each other's culture and thinking that their culture is the only one and the best one and all these other things and or whatever the case may be. And I like it. I like the way that we got to see them all together here and kind of fighting it and seeing Moiraine and Lan trying to fight the sweat and act like it's all good and it doesn't really bother them. I thought that was super funny. I picked up the spears for the Aiel because they helped me, but at the drop of a dime, I would drop it all to come back and make Malkir what it once was. And I'm like, damn, yo, he really got some ride or dies, really honing in and zeroing in on that fact. And it was just also really dope to see Perrin stick up and be this hero and see everyone looking up to him and seeing him take charge. And it just feel natural more than anything. To have it feel natural is really what got me excited. Because it's like, oh, they're on this level of storytelling. She's about to be crazy. Obviously, we have Falcon pulling back up, making her debut. Still looking for the Horn of Valyr, as we know, because we read the book, right? We know a lot of stuff from reading the book. And yeah, it's like, yo, she is in there. And they're also doing other issues, maybe some meta issues as well, kind of blending in those things together. But it was awesome to see Faile. And I love the way, like, for me, it was like an immediate click when I saw her. It's like, oh shit, that's Fail. She has the features that they talk about, like all of that just worked for me real well. And I love that Perrin laughed at her when she said her horse's name was she was named Mandarb, and that's the name of the horse. All of those beats are there and they work nicely. They work really nicely. And then it seems that Elida had something to do with getting the head sitter, the main seat of the Red Aja, sent on a mission across the world in order to free up the seat so she could either take the seat and or influence someone with power to sit there that she could have in her pocket, right? Because both of those things are a possibility. They can definitely both be true. And then one of the highlights of this episode is we get to see Mat doing his Mat thing, right? We get to see Mat go against the brothers, put them in their place, even if it only was in front of Nynaeve, it still happened, right? And it was so cool to see him kind of lock in and almost breathe Inner Warrior out and have him just start whooping ass because he inherently knows how to whoop ass, because not only is he ta'veren, but he is also of the Manetheren, and those Manetheren are badass. The choreography of this fight scene, though, the way that the brothers used each other for leverage to do certain things, it all worked very well, very well, and very nicely. So they're doing certain things to not make us hate characters, doing things to make us hate other characters, changing up the story, flipping it around on its head, and it makes me so excited for what's to come, but also extremely confused as to what's actually going to be the next chapter within the Wheel of Time. But whatever that chapter is, whatever it may be, whatever is going to occur, whatever is going to happen, I'm ready. I hope you guys are ready too, because goddamn, we are really in the meat and potatoes of everything. And then one of the sangria that they have stolen is the one that is similar to what the Shan-Chan do with the collar and the thing, and that is you get someone to be able to do your bidding, your will, and all this stuff, and for them, they're doing the male collar and having that be what they can use against him. But I think that they're forgetting that they'll need a male channeler to do that, because you're going to need a male channeler to get the male channeler. So that's kind of a catch-22. But they might be able to use like one of the Forsaken in that manner or something. But I don't know. A lot of thoughts, a lot of theories, and even questions. So let me know how you guys are feeling about that in the comment section down below. I am so pumped for everything that's going to be coming for the rest of this season. It's been so good up until this point, and I think it will continue to be incredibly fantastic. If I just do say so myself, I think we're going to continue to kill it. I think it's going to continue to just get better and better and better. And Moghedien is obviously being a menace, and I think she's kind of playing a little bit of every side. But so are the Aes Sedai, right? The Aes Sedai are also playing every side. So it's like, what the hell is going on? Who's doing what and how? And what the hell can we do to stop it? Those are all my thoughts, theories, and questions for the season 3 premiere of the Wheel of Time series. I hope you guys appreciated it. Make sure you drop all your thoughts, theories, and questions in the comment section down below, because I'm always interested in hearing them and figuring out how you guys are feeling.